the Retirement Readiness Podcast with Tim Regan and Kaitlyn Hedger, presented by Prairie View Wealth and Tax Advisors. Live your 2-comma life.
Well, welcome to this episode of the Retirement Readiness Kickstart Program podcast. Kickstart program, Kaitlyn, you're the head of that program here, and we're going to talk a little bit about investments as it pertains to that. And so remind us, so Kickstart is for anybody, 22 to 35, basically, kind of getting out of college, getting started, and it's how do you get all of your financial stuff put together in a very methodical, systematic way so that you can kickstart your road to living your 2-comma life, right?
Absolutely. It's exactly that.
Yeah. So investments,
the big sexy topic.
Yeah, and so what are you going to talk about? Like GameStop and meme stocks and
Dogecoin.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
All the good stuff.
Yeah, is that like what you help people do, or what's it mean when you say investment management?
It is breaking down what the heck these investments even are. What should we be in? What should we be considering? And what's available to you, I think, is the biggest piece. And
so when you talk about that, a lot of times I think I got to have a pretty big bankroll in order to go talk to somebody about that. Is that the case, or what's the thought?
Such a big myth. And I don't know where it comes from, to be honest with you. I think everybody can use guidance on, is what I'm investing in matching with what my long-term goals and plan is? And it takes a kind of outside guide to help you do that. I think investing is kind of personal, obviously.
Yep.
And so when you can't separate the two, you want to have someone that's a little bit more level-headed, understands the market, and just help you make good decisions when it comes to your investments.
For sure. And so what happens then? My Uncle Bernie tells me that you should go out and buy Tesla stock. Is that what you're talking about? Or my buddy at school's telling me that he's getting into crypto, or
on TikTok, you saw that you have to do this fund.
Yeah. Is that what you're talking about? Or what's the difference between investing and speculating? Help me break that down a little bit.
When you invest in something, you want it to be part of your long-term plan. Or if there's short-term goals that we're trying to achieve, maybe it's part of your short-term plan. But essentially, it's very difficult to sit and plan the market. You're going to be spinning your wheels there.
Sure. And so when you talk about that investment management, it's really kind of saying, if I want to do X, Y, and Z at this point in time, how do I match up my investment plan to be able to accomplish those goals?
Exactly. And sometimes it's even managing the investments inside multiple accounts. And so sometimes the trap we can fall into is if we don't have a diversified plan across everything we have going on, we might need to take a second look.
And so I'm assuming then my investments for my retirement that I have in my 401k probably look slightly different than the investments for me wanting to buy a house and do that in maybe 5 years instead of 25 years, whatever the number is.
Exactly. And that's why, part of the first step in the process with the Kickstart program is really getting a good grasp on, what are we trying to accomplish here? Are we saving for a house? Are we saving for kids' college? There's a number of things you can be after, and we have to invest appropriately for those goals.
And so help me to understand then, what's the process? How do I know this should be invested for retirement versus this should be invested for the kids' college? I know you can help me with that, but give me a kind of, I like to call it the money set. So if you think about, if I said to you, approach that problem with the right mindset, you know exactly what I mean. You got to get your mind right. Going into a sporting event, you have the right mindset. I think about money set the same way. How am I approaching the problem with my money in the same fashion? And so if I think about an investment money set, help me to just kind of get a feel for what should I be thinking about big picture, and how do I get the right money set around it?
Step one is figuring out what you actually have. I think a big piece of that is a lot of times you'll probably have some money in an entire employer plan, right? I think 401k, 403b, things like that. And sometimes those funds will sit there not invested if you don't give the instructions to invest it. So let's talk through what your options are inside of those accounts that you already have established. That might be an employer plan. You might have an account that, dad gave you 10 years ago, whatever. But take a look at what you have, what your options are. How do we be more strategic based on some of the goals that you're trying to hit, and more intent with what we're actually investing in?
And so sometimes we'll have people that think, I've got this short time period, I got to make a lot of money with it, let me put it all in a risky investment. And then other times people are like, oh, that's my retirement. I want to make sure that I get there. So I'm going to be really secure with that. Is that the right money set?
Both are kind of a part of the plan. I mean, we're going to plan for long-term things like retirement. Those are funds that you probably can't even touch until you're
so that you're probably more
older.
Aggressive than
right.
More conservative.
You've got time in the market. The market's going to go way up and it's going to go way down, and you're just going to be able to ride it out and kind of take advantage of some of that. On the flip side, kind of having some fun in the market is important too, so we might take a look at, if you want to have your quote unquote play money, go have some fun with that, but make it a part of your plan. So it's a portion of it. You're not gambling away in the market with a ton of your assets, I should say.
Yep. And that's all stuff that you kind of balance where it's going. Yes, this is going for your goals, but we also have some play stuff that we can say you also have to scratch the itch of maybe you want to have some money set aside to do
exactly. And we want you to be comfortable with what you're investing in. If you're someone that, if you lost $1 tomorrow on a scratch off, you're crying, we're going to be more intentful with how we're investing in that.
Maybe don't buy the scratch off, right?
My goodness.
Step one, if you don't want to blow your money, don't do it, right?
Or where I live, those Wisconsin pull tabs, they're just so attractive in the corner. I never win, but the pulling the tabs, the best part.
That's funny. Awesome. So this part of the Kickstart, you're going to sit down with me. You've already kind of walked through and understood what my goals are. We've put together a budget. So I know what can I spend where, how much money do I have to set aside? And now when we get in the investment side, it's all about being very methodical and logical in how we assign those investments and making sure that we're clear on what that strategy looks like and is in alignment with my goals. Is that
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Great episode. Join us for our next episode, or for more resources, head to pv-wp.com. Be well.
The Retirement Readiness Podcast with Tim Regan and Kaitlyn Hedger. Presented by Prairie View Wealth and Tax Advisors. Live your 2-comma life. Learn more at pv-wp.com. And while you're at it, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Retirement Readiness Podcast on your preferred podcast platform.